Kaspa is on its way to the top of the curve. If you ask yourself what I'm talking about, watch till the very end. I'll give you another perspective on Kaspa's price development. You guys told me to cover more Kaspa content, here you go. Kaspa seems to become Bitcoin's little brother more and more, and it shows in their mission, it shows in price development, and it shows in tokenomics. And as always here on my channel, I have all the important information prepared and packaged ready for you. Coming up in this episode of Philprints, your one and only stop for crypto, finance and trading. With me, you will gain the skill set and the mindset to crush the markets. Before we start, make sure to follow me on Twitter. My username is philprints_11. It's also linked on my channel. Yesterday in my video about Jasmy, I told you if we hit 100 followers here on Twitter, I'll tell you guys about a coin that will pump very, very soon. So hurry up, make these 100 followers full so I can post it on Twitter. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please ask yourself why and do it now. You really don't want to miss any of the next videos. Let's get to it. So what are we up to? In my first video about Kaspa, where I explained everything you have to know about the project, I already mentioned that Kaspa's price is moving in this kind of curve structure rather than a linear channel. Nevertheless, price respects both, as we can see, for example, here and also here recently. Also, in their official emission schedule, we can see that their halvings are every year compared to Bitcoin, where this happens every 4 years, and is therefore dictating how much new supply is flowing into the market. Now, what's really special about Kaspa is that it basically has its own rhythm. It seems to be in its own little universe where the rest of the market doesn't matter. And so it comes that there's basically no other coin that behaves like Kaspa, at least to my knowledge. Where we can see this really good is here in this red box. This was at the time of the last bear market, where most of the altcoin projects had minus 90 to 99%. And during this time, from mid of 2022, where the coin of Kaspa launched, until to the bottom of the bear market, Kaspa did more than 23x. And to its all-time high back then, this was even more than 46x. So Kaspa had basically its own market dynamics. So is Kaspa completely uncorrelated to the rest of the crypto market? Well, no, it's not that extreme. For example, the whole altcoin market started to pump in October 2023, and Kaspa did this as well, where it gave us a 3x. And this was basically from the bottom of the channel to the top of the channel. Then we saw a cool down, starting to pump again in February, and now we're basically right in the middle of the channel. Now, it's not only because of the curve that Kaspa and Bitcoin seem to be relatable. Kaspa seems to be the little brother of Bitcoin, also because it picked up the initial mission or initial vision of Bitcoin to become a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And as Bitcoin drifted away from this and basically become a store of value or digital gold, Kaspa is now trying to exactly accomplish this peer-to-peer electronic cash system technology in order to become digital silver, which makes way more sense, as in all our history, silver was basically more circulative and used as cash rather than gold always being some kind of store of value. And this is also why Kaspa literally means silver in Aramaic. Now, if we zoom in a little, we can see that we had a crazy wick down to the EMA 200, but immediately got back up and now are accumulating here. Now, there's a pattern I have found in the price that basically sets us up for another pump. Let me show you what I mean. If we take a look at all of the past mini cycles from top to bottom of the channel, we can see that there is a pattern. First, we come down from the top to the bottom of the channel and as well are below the EMA 200. Then the first time we break it to the upside, we have a small rally, but not too big. We basically only make it to the 0.5 to 0.618 Fibonacci. Then we go back down to the EMA 200, retest it, accumulate a little over it, and then pump straight up. And oftentimes we have another correction or consolidation here in the middle part of the curve before we resume the uptrend to the top of the curve. All right, let's apply this pattern to the next moves. Here as well, we came down, broke above the EMA 200 again, made it to the 0.618 Fibonacci, came back down to the EMA 200, pumped up from there to around the middle of the channel, and this time we didn't make it to the top of the channel, but instead accumulated on top of the EMA 200 with multiple retests until we basically again reached the bottom of the channel here. As we have this longer accumulation, we pumped straight up directly to the top of the curve with a small consolidation again in the middle of the channel. And this is also where all of the altcoins pumped. So I think this is the correlation with the rest of the market we saw and therefore had this straight leg up. Now then we came back down to the bottom of the channel, not completely to the bottom of the curve as you can see here. So this is why not only the curve but also the channel are relevant. Also the way to draw this channel is not an exact science. And when price is developing in the future, for sure there might be some touch points we can then align the curve to and make it turn out a little different. But for sure it gives us the boundaries to know what we can expect in short to midterm and also have a first trajectory of the price for the long term. Also, if price should in fact break out to the up or the downside of the channel, we know that there's something extraordinary happening to Kaspa and that we should pay extra attention. All right, back to the pattern I was showing you. With this recent pump, we also came back above the EMA 200 after consolidating below it for some time during this downtrend. And obviously there is some correlation again here with the rest of the crypto market because we straight pumped above the 0.618 without having a quick retrace to the EMA 200 as it was before. We proceeded to go up to the 1.272 and yesterday due to the flash crash in Bitcoin and all of the altcoins which we had because of the crazy funding rates, we had this wick to the EMA 200, which is the first time Kaspa's price is retesting it for this whole rally that we're now having from the beginning of February. This means we now do have the possibility after this first retest of the EMA 200 that we now proceed to go to the upside of the curve or even of the channel, which would mean that we have to redraw the curve. With the strength in Bitcoin close to all-time highs, I am actually leaning to this scenario. Of course, if the whole market is struggling to keep up, this might drag down Kaspa as well and then make for this kind of longer accumulation in the middle of the channel like we had last time. But as I explained initially, Kaspa is doing its own thing most of the time, meaning it doesn't depend on the market as much as other projects. Actually, especially in downtrends, as we saw with Kaspa's price action in the bear market. If we actually follow the trajectory of the curve to the projected end of the bull market, meaning around end of 2025, this could bring price to a range of $3.40 to $5.80, which are the all-time high market caps of XRP, Solana, Cardano, and BNB. And this makes for a very realistic long-term scenario. From current prices around 20x to 35x. Now, if we would get extreme hype and maybe follow the channel rather than the curve, we could basically look at price targets between $20 and around $70, meaning around 140x to around 372x from current prices. But to be really honest, I don't think this is likely. I would rather stick to $3, $4, $5. That's a reasonable price target. When we again look at the short-term price action, we can see on the lower time frames, you can see that price is even holding the EMA 200 on the 1 hour chart for this whole move up starting from beginning of February. And that means our first indication for price not directly pumping up is if we lose this EMA 200 on the 1 hour chart and start to trade below it. Then most likely we will first touch the bottom of the channel first, which also aligns with the 0.618 of this upwards move, and then we could accumulate here again. If we are in fact holding it, then the 2.618 also aligns very nicely with the top of the curve. So again, we have to watch closely what price does in correlation with the EMA 200 in order to see if it's more likely to continue up higher or if price requires another touch of the lower band of the channel. But with Bitcoin and the market being strong, I think we could very well look at Kaspa traveling up here. Guys, please let me know which of the scenarios you think is more likely down in the comment section. Now, what I would very much advise you to do now is to have a look at my analysis of Bitcoin. Did you know that never before we were so close to all-time highs before the Bitcoin halving? And it seems retail isn't even there yet. All of this and more I explained in this video, so really make sure to watch it. It's important for the whole market. As always, this was not financial advice. Please always do your own research and due diligence. This was Prince for you. Crush the markets. Until next time, goodbye.